Hey y'all, thanks for tuning into season 3, episode 25 of the Peace Podcast. Just give me more yeses, whatever that looks like. And so oftentimes we are struggling to set boundaries because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. Like we tell ourselves, well, if I set this boundary, then the other person is going to be hurt by that boundary. The first thing I want to tell you is that the people who are hurt by your boundaries are the people who are benefiting from you not setting them. And so if that person comes back to you with a guilt trip or all the things that they have to say about you, the judgment that they have for you because you set a boundary, it's because they were benefiting from your constant need to say yes to them and say no to yourself. And so this episode is really about how to say more yeses to yourself and more no's to the things that are no longer serving you. Because we walk through this life and we wonder why we're drained and we wonder why we feel like our output is more than our input. And the reality of that situation is we're not sitting with ourselves enough and we're not sitting with God enough. Because when we're saying yes to everybody else, then that means we're saying no to ourselves, we're saying no to what's in alignment with us, and we're saying no to what God actually has for us inside of our obedience. And so what happens is we continue to say yes to everyone else, and then we wonder why we don't feel sustained, we don't feel the passion of our lives, etc. If you respect yourself, if you have an emotional, healthy space internally, it's because you've learned how to set boundaries and say no. Because here's the thing, especially if you're a mom, you've probably experienced this. There's a ton of people pulling at you wanting a ton of things. And in order for you to pour from your cup has to be running over because you still need a full cup, but you have to have abundance to give to everybody else. Well, when you're consistently saying yes to what everyone needs from you, and I know when you're doing it by yourself, you have to say yes to a lot of things that you don't want to say yes to. And I'm not talking about those things that are out of responsibility. I'm talking about those things that you could essentially say no to because you need time for yourself. You need space for yourself, but you're continuing to give them a yes because you don't want someone to be mad at you. If your kids don't want to do their chores, it's because they're benefiting from you not making them do their chores. They get to be lazier, they get to be on their phone scrolling more, etc. If your mom is having a hard time hearing you say you can't just pop up at my house on a random Sunday, it's because she benefits from being able to come there and suck the life out of the situation to fill up her cup while you're left being empty when she leaves. And it's not a sin to need to set boundaries with the people that you're supposed to honor. In fact, it is honoring to say, I don't have the capacity to do this with you today. That is honoring because otherwise you're going to do it with resentment. You're going to do it out of obligation and not joy. And even if the person can't tell in the time frame when you're doing the thing, they'll be able to tell later because you'll be grudgingly doing these things as opposed to doing them because you actually want to be in that space. If you want to experience self-respect and emotional health, you have to know that in order to protect your energy, in order to protect your values, in order to protect your relationship with God, a no is essential. A boundary, again, is not, I've said this in so many pods and I'm going to keep repeating it until I'm blue in the face. A boundary is not punishment for that other person. It's a guardrail that you're putting inside of your relationship so that the relationship can still exist in a safe way. It's just like the guardrails on the road. Those roads would be untravelable if there wasn't a guardrail keeping you safe. Those guardrails keep you from going over the side of the mountain. I live in a place where it's really mountainous. So if you don't, sorry, my references are going to go there. But there are guardrails on these windy roads up the mountains, and it's so that you don't slide off the side of the mountain. It keeps it safe for you to be able to travel on the road. And this relationship can only be inhabitable if you keep the guardrails on it to keep it safe. And so when you're setting a boundary to keep your energy safe, to keep your values intact, but also to keep that relationship consistent, you're trying to help and salvage the situation. And if somebody can't see that, then that means that that person is focused on themselves and not focused on your relationship or even you. And relationships are give and take. So if you're not setting boundaries around that thing, then that means that that person is used to taking from you, and they want to keep on being able to take from you. And it's not until you do something about it that they're not going to continue to bleed your well dry. And it doesn't just go for relationship. It goes for work-life balance. It goes for just any type of situation you're in where there are other people. You have to set boundaries around your time. Think about it like this. If you go to work every day and you want to say yes to more time with your kids, but yet your boss is asking you to stay over, you have a conundrum there. Either I'm going to be a really good employee, good in the eyes of the people that you're working for, and I'm going to stay over these 2 hours, or I'm going to be a really good mom and I'm going to go home now so that I can go to soccer or whatever it is that I need to do. I'm going to have to say no to one thing to give the yes to the other thing. It's all about what I value. What do I want to spend the energy on, and where are my values being placed? And if my values are being placed in motherhood, then I need to go to the soccer game. I can't stay here in an effort to be your good employee. I've heard people say all the time, well, this person isn't really dedicated because they come on time and they leave on time. And if you're anywhere in the education field, you understand that this is a thing. If a person comes on time and they leave on time, then they're fulfilling their obligation. And if the person that they work for has an expectation that in order to be a good employee, they need to come early and leave late, then there's something wrong with the expectation, not something wrong with the employee. Because I can tell you that I know many of people who can work an 8-hour day and they work circles around the people who come early and stay late. And it's because they know that they have these 8 hours to work inside of, and so they're going to be efficient inside of those 8 hours. And so time it doesn't matter. It's about the level of work that a person is willing to do, the level of efficiency they have inside of that time. But if that person's perspective of it is that you're supposed to come in early and stay late, then you're going to have to set boundaries around that thing. Listen, I can be a good employee for these 8 hours. I'm not going to give you more. My contracted hours are this, and that's what I'm going to give you. And I'm not being disrespectful by doing that, but I have a family and I place value on being present for them. And that is a boundary that you have to set so you can stay in that position and you can keep your work and your life balanced, because that's something that you value. But if you have poor boundaries, whether in relationship or at work, what you're going to end up doing is overcommitting, people pleasing, and burning out. Those are the only options. You are going to overcommit, you are going to people please, and you're going to burn out. Your overcommitting is going to cause you to have to give up these things, like maybe you have yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but now you're giving up yoga, so now you're giving up your own internal well-being to stay late for something that you don't necessarily even have to do. It's not your duty or your job title. Or maybe you're saying yes to a friend, but that's causing you to have to say no to one of your children, and it's something that you value, so you want to be there, so you're trying to be in both places, and what happens is there's only 100% of you. There's only 100% of you. There's not 110, there's not 105, there's not 135. There's only 100% of you. So if you take from one thing and give to the other, the only option you have is to give 20 here and 80 here, or 60 here and 40 here, or 50 here and 50 here. You cannot overcommit and do all of those things well. You can't. You have to say no to fulfill your obligations well. You have to say no to fulfill your obligations well because, one, you have to fill yourself. So there has to be time for you incorporated in there. Whether it's taking a long walk, whether it's being able to journal every night, whether it's being able to spend some time by yourself, whatever it is, you have to be able to have some time for you in order to do any of your yeses for anybody else well. You have to say no to be able to do those yeses well, because if you overbook yourself, even if you overbook yourself, people are still going to ask for more. You gave me an hour this week, I want 2 next week because it benefited me somehow. And so you have to be the ultimate controller of your time and your calendar, and you have to do it in such a way that it benefits the people that you care about most. It feeds into the values that you hold priority to, and it gives space for you to fill back your cup up, because if you're doing 100% of the time, you're not going to be doing anything well, and you're going to end up having to lay in your bed for 3 or 4 days in a row doing nothing because you're empty, you're burnt out, you can't give any more to anyone else. So you first have to learn how to give yourself the yes. How do I set a boundary with myself to be able to have more yeses for myself? Well, it looks like this. You have these conversations with yourself about your non-negotiables. On Saturday, I plan to clean for 2 hours, and then I'm doing absolutely nothing. And because I plan on that, and because I'm going to be doing absolutely nothing, it doesn't matter what anyone asks me to do on Saturday. My answer is going to be no, because I've already told myself yes. Treat yourself like your own best friend, like your prioritized person, like the person that when they come into town, you're clearing out your entire schedule for that person. And then commit to it. Don't break that commitment to you. Your commitment to yourself is your first best commitment. You can't commit to anything else unless you commit to yourself. And so you set that boundary with yourself that you're not going to say no. This Christmas, I want to stay home. Well, people are asking me to go do this, and that's great, but I'm staying home on Christmas. Maybe I'll do that on Christmas Eve. Maybe I'll do that the weekend before Christmas, but on Christmas Day, I'm staying in my Christmas PJs all day long, watching Christmas movies and just sitting there. Even on the weeks or even on the years that I don't have my kids, because we do the every other year flip-flop, I will be at home by myself even watching Christmas movies because I don't want to travel on Christmas Day. That is a yes to yourself that you're going to stay committed to. I'm going to make sure that I take a yoga class once a week. I'm going to make sure that I meditate every morning for 10 minutes. What if the dog's barking? What if the kids are talking? Great. Put your AirPods in. Turn the sound up on some beach waves or calming music or sound baths or whatever it is, and give yourself those 10 minutes, because that commitment to yourself will allow you to joyfully commit to the things that you have said yes to other people to. If you say no to yourself more often than not, you're going to unjoyfully, begrudgingly, with zero happiness, do the things that you've said yes to other people because you need something. And when your basic needs aren't met, emotions arise, and you don't do those things in a happy way. When you're setting boundaries at work, you can do that respectfully. It sounds like this is a job for insert title here. I would gladly be a consultant after the work is finished, but I think this is more in their wheelhouse. It sounds like you have an expectation that I stay after on these days. My contract says this, so that sounds like a change from my contract. Can we talk about it? And you can do that in a very assertive way without feeling like you're a jerk. Because it's not a jerk to stand up for yourself. It's not a jerk move to set boundaries for yourself. It's not a jerk move to say, for 10 minutes every day when I come home from work, I need silence. Give your kids some Play-Doh or some screen time or whatever it is for those 10 minutes so that you can get you back, so that you can decompress for those times. If it's family and they're obligating you to go do something, you can say, I already made plans. Even if those plans are sitting in your PJs, you are not obligated to say yes to them because you don't have anything else to do. That is something else. That's taking care of you. So when you set these boundaries and you're trying to make more yeses for yourself, you have to tell yourself the yes first. You have to tell yourself what your non-negotiables are first. You have to prioritize your values and your energy before anyone even asks you to do anything. And once you've resolved that those are the things that you're going to hold true to and hold on to, it'll be easier for you to say no to that thing because this thing is your priority. This thing is the thing that you're going to stick to. So if you know that your aunt comes to your house on a weekly basis and you're fine with her coming on a weekly basis, but you're not fine with the negativity of her conversation, you can tell her that. I love that you come here every week. You're saying yes to the fact that you don't want to be involved in negative conversation. That brings me down. I don't want to do that. I need to be built up. So you say, I love that you come every week. And I really need our conversations to be about things that are building up and not tearing down. So if you're going to gossip, I would prefer not to have those conversations. And guess what? That yes is a yes to you and a yes to her. I still want you here. I love your presence, but I don't love the presence of negativity. So we're going to stop having those conversations. And really they're versations anyway, because you're talking and I'm sitting there waiting for you to finish dumping your emotions on me. We certainly can talk about emotions, but we're not going to talk about people. All of those things are setting clear and healthy boundaries. You're not trying to punish people. You're trying to prioritize you, your time with God, your relationship with Him, your time reading the Bible, your time just reading a book, your time sitting with you, your time where you're actually spending time being with you. All of those things are valuable yeses. And I'm here to tell you, if you need permission to say yes to yourself today, here's your permission. It is okay to say yes to yourself. It is okay. Not only is it okay, but it is the perfect thing for you to do for you. You don't need to disrupt your time with you because someone has a dumpster fire that they probably caused on their own anyway. And then what's going to happen is, if you're not used to doing this, you're going to feel guilty. Especially if you're a people pleaser, especially if you're a self-sacrificer. It's going to feel like such a weight of guilt. And there are some tools that you can use that you can hang that weight on. So even if you feel guilty, you can still do the thing. So if you say, Auntie, I want you to come every week, but I don't want to have these gossipy conversations. And she says, but you're the only one I have to vent to. Here's what you do. I hear that you value my perspective and my ability to hold your emotions, but I value our time together to connect on positive conversations. So I need that and not this. And if she continues to try to guilt you, you just tell her, listen, I'm not a therapist. I would love to be one, but I'm not one. And so I feel like these conversations that are going to bring me down require me to be a therapist to you, but then to need one after I leave the conversation. And I don't want to do that. You hear them, but you value something else over what they're expecting you to prioritize. If someone tries to guilt you for not jumping when they say jump, I need you to come help me do this thing. I can't do it right now. I'm playing soccer with my kids. Yeah, but you're just playing. I actually need you. I'm trying to get home. I hear that you need me and that you're in a tight circumstance, but I value my time with my children over most things. I will be glad to call AAA for you, but I can't come do it for you. And that sounds so horrible when you're a people pleaser. It sounds so horrible when you're somebody who prioritizes other people over yourself. But when you've set a commitment to yourself to not overcommit yourself to others, you're going to have to keep that commitment, because if you don't, no one else is going to be committed to your time with you. You are the only one who is going to keep that commitment. No one else is going to say, I'm going to leave my mom alone. I'm going to leave my friend alone. I'm going to leave this employee alone because she said that she was spending time with herself for these 20 minutes. No one's going to do that. You have to protect that. And guess what the guardrails are? The guardrails that protect it and keep you safe in those places are your boundaries. So if you've said yes to yourself, you're going to have to say no to all of those things that people are requesting from you. Hang the weight of the guilt on the strategies and tools that you know. Write that script down and memorize it. I hear that. Fill in the blank with the thing that they're asking you for or they're valuing. But I value this, and so I need to do this. I hear that. You want me to stay after work for another 2 hours. But I value my ability to provide a work-life balance, and I have a commitment once I leave here. Even if that commitment is putting on your PJs and your slippers and eating a gallon of Haagen-Dazs, you have committed to yourself that you are not staying after, and that's the commitment that you're going to keep. And guess what? It is not unbiblical to take care of you. God wants you to take care of you because you are the vessel that He created. He wants you to take care of you, and He also wants you to be good for other people. And the best way for you to take care of you is to prioritize the time that you need to hold on to your space and your values. The best way to take care of you is to have time to spend with Him. And if you're overcommitting to everybody else's need for you and you're saying yes to everything that they need, then you're saying more no's to Him, more no's to the time that you want to spend with Him, more no's to the obedience that you want to have for Him, because everyone else is filling up that space with what they need from you. It is not unbiblical to say yes to you, because that allows you to become more of what He has for you and to hear from Him so that you can remain more obedient. It is not unbiblical to say no to other people. You don't always have to be there when they need you. You can give them a prayer instead of a hand. Sometimes that's what they need more anyway. Because the more you say yes to people who are taking advantage of you, the more they rely on your yeses and the less they rely on their need for God and their prayer life. And so don't feel guilty because you've said yes to yourself. But when you do, start to think about the strategies that you're going to use before you even use them. If it helps you to block out the time in your calendar that you're using to prioritize you, do that. Put it in red. Make it the things that can't be moved. Lock it so that no one else can take that time. Because in order for you to create a space where your values are valued and your energy is protected, you have to set boundaries around your yeses. You only have so many yeses to give, and some of them need to be to yourself. Thank you for tuning in. If this video resonated with you, go ahead and go to my social medias, like and subscribe to those channels, follow them, etc. If this podcast is something that you love listening to, I'd love for you to rate it on Apple or wherever you get your podcast so that more people can hear the channel. And if this message was helpful to you, remember to share it with someone else so that it can be exactly what they need to free themselves from the bondage that they're in so that they may live a life of peace and freedom. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.